Hello, I'm here today with a new feature which I hope will become a regular thing. I'm going to go through and give a critique and hopefully some constructive criticism on some of your landscape photographs. I often get sent images by people on Instagram or Facebook asking for my opinion of the image, asking for a critique. I think people are craving some kind of pointers as to how their images can be improved. Sometimes it's not by very much that needs to change to actually take it up a level or two. So what I'm going to aim to do here is I've got two volunteers that I put out a call on Instagram and asked for volunteers, and I was overwhelmed by the response of people putting forward their portfolio and selected images for me to actually go through and give them some pointers. So I've got two lucky volunteers who I've promised to be very gentle with. Hopefully they'll find it constructive and very useful. Obviously everyone has an opinion. I'm not saying my opinion is right. You know, photography, landscape photography and digital art, you know, if you want to go down that route, it is very, very subjective. What some people like, other people don't like. So this is my first in my opinion feature, which is what I've decided that I'm going to call it. Opinions are, you know, everyone's got an opinion. So, you know, this is just my opinion. It's not right, it's not wrong, just my opinion. Sometimes an impartial set of eyes helps to see things that you can't quite see yourself. So with that in mind, I'll crack on. Oh, I should just say, please don't send me any images at the moment. I'll put a call out if I'm going to do this again. I think I will. But, you know, please don't bombard my email with images. First up in the firing line is a chap by the name of Simon Tagger. He's based in the northwest of England in Stockport. His social media details are below. Simon shoots with a Nikon D750, a wide range of subjects from cityscapes to landscapes, and he sent me a couple of images that I'll go through and critique. So the first image that Simon sent was this incredible pano up at Standish Edge in the Peak District. Incredible clouds, rainbow in the sky there as well. A lone walker. He's got all the ingredients for an epic picture. You know, he's framed it. You know, from speaking to Simon, you know, it was very much a rush job as far as getting the image here. So what I would say, looking at this, is you know, it's captured the clouds. It's got a great shape for the clouds. You know, we've got the nice arch here. We've got the person within that arch, but it looks a little bit dark here, and the person isn't very clear. The eyes are naturally drawn to the light part of the image over here, which I think could be quite easily cropped out without taking anything away from the image, and actually increase the brightness of the image around here to actually bring the focus back onto the walker. So if I just do a virtual copy of this image, I'll just show you what I mean. So if we crop this down, just bring the edge in, get rid of that. Okay, so just bringing the edge in so that we've got the arch of the clouds within the centre of the frame. We've got the walker much more prominent now because we haven't got this light area on the left hand side that's kind of dragging your eye away. So he's much more prominent. So what I would think here is this needs to be slightly lighted to bring a bit more emphasis on it. to draw your eye into the walker. So, you know, just bringing let's just make it slightly artificial there. So just making that slightly brighter there will bring you towards him a lot more than your eyes slipping out of the frame to the left here. I'd also probably darken down this immediate foreground just because it's a little bit messy. So something like a gradient filter at the bottom here, just dragging up from the bottom just to lower the exposure at the front there, and that will just very simply, you know, give a lot more focus on the shape of this cloud and the walker within it. Couple of other things that I would pick out, you know, the walker isn't quite as sharp as ideal, but you can forgive that for like a wow moment, like rainbow, awesome cloud. So I think that would probably work better. If I put the lights out on that and compare that with the previous frame, you can just see, hopefully you'll see what I mean, where it's bringing the focus more onto him rather than this one where your eyes kind of going over here. Right, the second image is this incredible hoarfrost, the woodland scene. Beautiful detail on the branches, absolutely captured that perfectly. Tree and the frost is superb. Couldn't say anything about this image apart from wow, but the only thing that I could possibly put forward as a suggestion will be to frame it slightly differently. So if I change this to a 2x3 and just bring this, in fact, before I do that, let's just create a virtual copy. Right, if I change the framing on that to a 2x3, where is it, and just move it over to the edge there, I think it works slightly better with that tree slightly off centre to the left, with the bolder branches coming up to the right. Right, if I switch the lights off, you'll be able to see what I mean. So that's the crop that I'm suggesting, and that's the wider crop. I think on this wider crop, this area on the left isn't really adding to the frame. So getting rid of that, I think, gives much more balance. We've got the detailed trees behind, and the shape of this lends more, I think, to a slightly off-centre composition. So hopefully you found that useful. Love this image, by the way, so really love this image. Obviously I'm working with the JPEG images that they've supplied to me. They would have the raw files, and we'll be able to have much more control over the final images. But I hope you can see what I mean on those. So moving on to the second victim, photographer. We have Shaun Jacobs, who's based in Dorset, very close to me. I haven't actually met him yet, but I'm sure I will one day. He might even hunt me down after this, who knows. Shaun supplied two images to me, which he wanted feedback on. So I'm going to go into the first image. Okay, so we have an old boat, decaying boat down at Poole Harbour. Long exposure image, I presume in fog, unless he's blurred out the background, which he might have done. But I love this. The detail on the boat's beautiful. Obviously a reasonably low tide. The boat's probably sitting on the bottom of the seabed there, just gently decaying away. Really nice subject. As far as my view on this image. I really like it. I really like it, but something just doesn't quite work. So I think it's slightly imbalanced. That's probably the main thing that I would say on this. So if I show you what I mean on this, if I do another virtual copy of this and go into the develop module, we just change the composition, instead of 3x2 to a 5x4, you see that it fits. I think it gives a more balanced image there. The only other thing I would say is the bluey green in the background is, I find, slightly distracting. So I would probably bring down the aqua channel and maybe the blue channel in this. Bring up the exposure just a touch. And that would make it slightly cleaner, I think. The post down here looks a little bit blurred. That might be from processing and getting rid of the background of this. So obviously in the raw file you'd be able to change that, but on here, if I just put in a bit of clarity on that, it might bring it a bit sharper. And I think that is probably all I would do. I think it's an absolutely fascinating subject. Old decaying wrecks like this are lovely for long exposure. Really, really nice. Okay, if I do a comparison between the previous, the before and the after. So this was before. So you see what I mean about the blue tint and slightly imbalanced. And afterwards, before and after. Okay, so next one, we want to go on to the next image, which is a fantastic shot from the fairy pools up in Skye. Been up here, amazing place. This, I think, has captured the waterfall beautifully. The mountain peak behind, nice and central. Got lovely clouds up there. We've got some fantastic detail in the water down below as well. Colours are great. White balance is perfect. I think that's a really fantastic picture. The only thing I would say, I think it needs a little bit more drama, a little bit more mood. So what I would do on this, and this is just my opinion, is if I do a virtual copy of that, I would just bring down the brightness down the bottom here, because as I said earlier, your eyes are naturally drawn to the lighter parts of the image. We really want the viewer looking at this waterfall and then going up, following the light in the sky up to the peak. So we want a progression there. So I would darken that, maybe add a little contrast, maybe a bit of clarity, just to bring out some of the detail in the water down here. And the only other thing I would do is, using the radial filter, is just bring in a radial filter here. So it's bringing down the exposure of everything outside of the center of the image to keep you contained within the sides. Otherwise you could slip off to the sides. But you know, as I said, this is just my opinion. But I really love this image. I love this location. Amazing place. Seems to always rain there. But if I show you the before and the after, hopefully you'll prefer the after. If you don't, hey, it's just an opinion. So this is the after and the before. Okay, so before and after. I keep forgetting to say at the end of my videos, or even anywhere during my videos, if you like them and you like the channel, you like me, click the subscribe button, smash the thumbs up, write a comment down below. It all gives me good feedback to improve the videos. I'm still learning, you know. So please do that. In the meantime, until next time, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.